If you're like me, you've probably been hearing or seeing a lot about Monster Hunter Wilds recently on your, I don't know, various social media pages. But something that's really struck me so far about the game is how easy to pick up it is. And within games in the Monster Hunter series, this one by far has the best characterization out of any of the games I've played. Better than World for sure, where the characters don't even get names, and better than Rise, where although the characters do get names, a lot of them tend to fall flat until much later when they actually join you on the hunts. Then, even then, some of them are not really that interesting. Like, I didn't find the Shrine Maidens to be all that interesting. In this game, though, a few characters will follow you and go through a lot of the story quests with you. Maybe not necessarily as, uh, like as an assistant in the hunt, but you'll see them in the cutscene beforehand and after. And I think that is a really great move on the part of Capcom. I think, at the end of the day, having that attachment to those characters is going to be beneficial to anyone playing this game. And this game is really not, at least for low rank, the first segments of the game, really not that difficult. And if you're playing a Monster Hunter game for the first time, I highly, highly recommend you try out, at the very least, the Great Sword, the Sword and the Shield, the bow, and the heavy and light bow guns. The bow and the heavy and light bow guns give you a great opportunity if you're still new to dodging the monster's attacks and getting used to that. Uh, it gives you a lot of space. You don't have to be super up close the same way you would with the Great Sword or the Sword and Shield. The Great Sword and Sword and Shield both have a way that you can like guard against the enemy monster, against the monsters, um, which I think is great. I think having those guard points and the ability to guard against certain attacks and an offset slash on the Greatsword to kind of stun the monster out of certain attacks is really great for the Greatsword's kit. And that's not something it had in World. It did have wire bug attacks in Rise, which were great and I really liked, but added a lot of mobility to the game, and they sped up the gameplay a lot as a result of that. I think in Wilds we go back to kind of like a more classic Monster Hunter feel, even though the gameplay is a little bit faster. There's not the ability to recover from getting knocked down the same way there is in some of the older ones, or in Rise specifically, I should say. I pre-ordered the game, and I have already put like a lot of time into it. I'm practicing right now with the Great Sword, as you can see, and not doing so great. I normally am in the Charge Blade. But for me, I came to this game after playing Elden Ring. Like, I'm a huge FromSoft fan, and it's a similar itch. You're a guy with a sword fighting against much larger bosses, and that familiar kind of like setup was really nice to have getting into it. I also think that the variety of weapon types is pretty good. Like, it could be better, but they stick with what works classically. A lot of the like weapon types at this point have been around for like generations in terms of game, like not generations of people. The first Monster Hunter game I played was 4 Ultimate, which I got into because it looked like a lot of fun to play with friends, and then I didn't have any friends I could play with because I needed to do it like locally. This game, the multiplayer of it, you can use like a SOS flare, like I'll show you, and immediately it'll call in, like put up your quest for other people to come help you, and give you like NPC hunters that will help you in the meantime until you get some real people to join. And the multiplayer, a lot of people complained about because for story quests, you have to do like it's a little bit of a thing to like join someone if you're both in the same point at the story. What one of you needs to do is like leave that quest and then join the other person's quest, and then once one of you does it, like you don't both have to do the quest separately. If you do it together after leaving your quest, then you can like progress the story together. And I don't remember in World, but it was kind of a pain in the butt to do it in World. That was a game I played through by myself, again, because I didn't have any friends. But this one, the online's so easy, and it's cross-platform, so I've been able to play it with tons of people and tons of my friends who normally I can't play games with, because I'm on PC, they're on Xbox or PlayStation. Um, and so it was a really nice change of pace to be able to come to this game knowing, like, I have other people who will have the game who I can play it with. And for me, Monster Hunter until recently had been like kind of a lonely thing. I had someone I played through Rise with, but aside from that, I was something I always did on my own, and I never really got very far because when you're on your own, it's not a super fun game. But the community with the public lobbies you can join, and the community you can have, like, you can meet people and then add them as a friend if they come and help you with an SOS. I really enjoy the way they've implemented the multiplayer in this game. And I think some of the complaints it has, especially on Steam, are kind of unfair, um, just because they can be mitigated if you know what you're doing. But it is a little frustrating that you have to know the trick in order to play through the story with someone. Like, I was playing through this game for the first time with a friend, and we didn't know the trick at first, so we like tried to stagger. Luckily, a little bit, I played a little bit with one of my other friends who actually knew the trick and taught it to me, and then after that point on, we were good. Um, but up until then, it was like kind of frustrating. But then once I learned the trick, like that was my main complaint, and it went away. The only other real issue I have with the game is it feels like the environments are kind of small compared to World. Compared to Rise, they're fine. Rise's environments were small, but Rise was meant to be a handheld game. It was meant to be on the Switch. Uh, so I feel like they could have added some more layers, some more secrets, some more interesting stuff. I feel like the desert in particular, which is the first biome, it's the one I'm in now, that you start off in, is like not that interesting. There is some like tunnels that you can only go on your secret, which I made mine look like a chocobo. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan. But that's besides the point. Like, there's not a whole lot going on with the environment, which is fine, especially because it's sort of meant to show, like, the environment can change a little bit. Like, not physically, but there's a quest where you come here in the middle of the sandstorm, and it's like there's lightning crashing down, you're fighting through a sandstorm, the monster's like huge and intimidating, and it's crazy. And the first time going through that, it was like really hype. I had a lot of fun. It was very tense, and the monster I fought was super cool during that. Not to spoil anything, but I think the game is worth buying. I think if you're a fan of Monster Hunter, or if you have friends who are willing to play through the game with you, it's definitely worth buying. If you haven't played Monster Hunter before, I still think it's like a solid purchase, even if you don't get to play through it right away. It's still kind of a fun game on your own. And then I think if you wait, too, I've noticed with a lot of Capcom games, and especially the Monster Hunter games, when a Steam sale comes up, they drop the price super low. And so, like, if you just wait, you can get this game probably on a crazy sale. If you don't wait, I still think the $74 price is worth it. But if you can't justify that for a game you don't know if you'll play, I still highly recommend it. Wait for one of those sales. and get it then, and I feel like you're gonna really enjoy it and kind of maybe even almost regret not waiting and or almost regret waiting and not paying the $70 for it when it was there. Um, there's also, I'm sure, a group of people who like are waiting until a birthday or Christmas, and hopefully someone else will get it for them. I would definitely say it's worth it. You can, the way the game works, there's low rank, and most of the story is centered in low rank. Uh, and when you're in low rank, I highly recommend get the weapons. Don't worry as much about the armor sets. Find an armor set you like and looks cool, upgrade it a couple times to keep it like on the level it should be. But you don't have to worry about finding the most optimal one, because there's not really super crazy builds you can do in early Monster Hunter with low rank armor sets. But with high rank, you can get a lot of hours out of this game. Like, it was spring break for one of my friends, and he has been playing through this game non-stop. I have like 20 hours in the game. I'm Hunter rank 32 or 33. He has a lot more hours than I do because he's just been playing it non-stop, and he's Hunter rank 97. Like, I know it goes all the way up to 99 because I went up to 99 in Rise, but that was after the Sunbreak DLC came out, and they were kind of like making it so you could fast track your way. They'd have event quests with multiple like Elder Dragon boss monsters you could fight through in order to get extra Hunter rank super fast. I'm just fighting this guy because I need some parts. But if you have any amount of curiosity about the Monster Hunter franchise, this one is definitely one of the more new player friendly. It's got a great like training area. It's got great tutorials. Oh, another weapon you might want to try if you haven't played the series before is the hunting horn. In this game, every time I play with a hunting horn player, they are like the most helpful person on the team, and a hunt without one just feels so much worse than a hunt with one. Like, if I could always have a hunting horn player guaranteed, I would never play without one. Yeah, so that's my thoughts about the price and the hunting horn, I suppose. I think, and I'm sorry if this is kind of like rambly or ranty, another thing this game does well is like the cutscenes are skippable, but they're also like entertaining to watch. The way they introduce the monsters and like this flow of the story is very natural, and they decrease the amount of parts you need in low rank to make a weapon from a monster versus what you need to forge it in high rank, because they want you to be going through the story and not like necessarily sitting there hunting monsters in low rank for all that long. They want low rank to feel not grindy, like everything you're doing has more of a purpose. And that's something I definitely appreciate versus Rise and World, where sometimes it was like, oh, I'm just fighting this monster because it said go fight the monster. And in high rank, there's a couple times where they're like, go investigate and then raise your hunter rank, and then we will give you the actual next story quest. Which I'm not a huge fan of, but that's how they always do it. So it's not like it's worse than other games. And also, getting into high rank, you know, they open up the monsters a lot. There's a lot more monsters to fight, which I think is great. They keep the low rank up until Hunter rank 9 really compact, really interesting, with monsters that are like either new or like have a twist on them. There's, I think even including variants, there's 3, maybe 4 returning monsters in low rank, and then high rank, they like double the number of monsters in the game, and that's so far. I'm only like, I guess, well, realistically like a third of the way through high rank, but I don't think that's exactly accurate. I think it's a little more than that, but they added a lot more. Like in the first quest alone, you see all the monsters from low rank that were new to the game, and then you also see a returning monster, and then on the way through it, you see returning monsters. I think, oh, excuse me, the way they go about, like, returning fan favorites without forcing new players or veterans to, like, fight them again. Because as fun as some of the fights are, you know, I don't want to fight Yan Kutku a billion times every game. Because I gotta fight him for his armor, his weapon, and then for, like, his tempered versions of those, and then his frenzied versions of those, or whatever the one of the game is. And it gets old pretty fast. It got really... Doing the investigations in Sunbreak got old really fast. But in this game so far, I haven't had that problem. They give you a lot of opportunities. And because there is so many concurrent players right now, there's tons of SOS quests for basically every monster. And for the side quests in Hunter or in High Rank, they let you do the SOS quests, like answer SOS calls, and it will count for your quest as the side quest. So if you have a side quest to hunt a Chotacabra, for example, and you answer an SOS call, somebody's SOS flare, and then hunt a Chotacabra with them and 3 other hunters, that counts, even if you didn't start the mission. And I think that's really nice, especially for, like, getting in high rank and then just wanting to, like, get through some of the fights. The fights, in my opinion, are a lot more interesting the more players you have, the more variety there is in what's happening. Yeah, but those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Have you already picked up this game? How many hours have you put into it? And what do you think? Yeah, I've said my thoughts. I really like a lot of the stuff they did in this game. Versus Rise of World, it, like, left a way stronger positive impression. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time.